Hi, welcome to Meeting Mesabi. Today I'm here with the Iron Range Partnership for Sustainability. And this is Marlise and Melissa. So nice. So glad to have you in here with us finally.
Thank you. Good to be here on a beautiful fall day.
Thank you.
Yeah, the weather turned like really nice all of a sudden for no reason. So hopefully I can get a little bit more of it before it starts snowing, I think, this
Right.
weekend.
Right.
But can you tell me a little bit about the Iron Range Partnership for Sustainability?
Sure. It started with a vision that was the result of a visit to a sustainability fair somewhere in the Twin Cities by Kristen Foster, who then was the pastor of Messiah Lutheran Church in Mountain Iron. And her plane, she missed a plane and was stuck in the cities and walked to this sustainability fair and was totally awed by it and said, we could do this, and came back and talked her church members into doing an event mimicking that the next year, which was 2009, and that was the first Earthfest.
Okay.
And that sort of kicked it off. IRPS didn't incorporate until 2011 as a nonprofit, as a 501c3, but it's been functional since 2008. So we're looking at 16 years, something like that.
Yeah, I was like, it was because I was trying to do the math. I was like, she's going to do the math because I'm not going to do it right now. So you're talking about Earthfest, because you guys do put on some events. Can you tell me a little bit about Earthfest and Pasty Fest?
Yeah.
Sure. Earthfest is our premier event. It's focused on sustainability and caring for the earth, drawing an awareness to our earth and celebrating Earthfest. Like Marlise said, we had our first Iron Range Earthfest in 2009, and it's grown ever since. In this past year, we had it, usually it's been held at Messiah Lutheran Church, Mountain Iron Community Center, and Merritt Elementary. And this past year, we moved the Earthfest over to the new Iron Trail Motor Event Center. And it was an incredible event.
Yeah.
We were really pleased by it, but it was a great event. So we're really pleased with the growth of the organization, along with the growth of Earthfest and our Pasty Festival, which is kind of a new endeavor within the last 5 years. I say the last 5 years, but the last 5 years have not been the same every year because we've had the pandemic in there. So
It's been a weird 5 years. Yeah.
It has
been a
been.
weird 5 years. The Pasty Fest came about as this was even before I came aboard IRPS, but there was another vision of bringing a Pasty Festival to the Iron Range, honoring the mining traditions through the culinary experience. And lo and behold, that's the Pasty.
Yeah.
Well, I know a little bit about the history of the Pasty, but before we continue on that, I do have these for you, just in case you wanted some water.
Thank you. So Brian Bloom, who was our previous executive director, went to a Pasty Festival in Calumet, Michigan. And I remember him sending me photos and saying, look at this, there's a parade and people are dressed as pasties and rutabagas and carrots and stuff. We could do that. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah. But actually, it's a perfect fit. You know, we had been wanting to gather people together for a celebratory meal around some Iron Range tradition. At Earthfest, there's 1,200 people, everybody's everywhere, everybody's busy, and they just kind of catch a bite to eat. And a meal is not the focus of Earthfest. But we thought, we could have a Pasty Festival. And so we had the first one in 2019. And then, of course, we had to cancel in 20 and 21 for COVID, but we still made pasties and we still sold them frozen. And then in 22, we had a festival live, and this year we did as well. And what makes our pasties really unique is that we make them from all local ingredients.
Oh,
and we
okay.
don't know of anybody else on the range who does that. We even use local lard in our crust. And we get meat from Willow Sedge Farm, and from Hellstrom Farms. We get veggies from Craig Turnboom at Skunk Creek Farm and Sherry Erickson at Elm Creek Farms and Jana Gert at Fat Chicken Farm and Ed Topping from his farm. And so everything that goes into the coleslaw and the pasty itself comes right out of the ground right around here. And we have a core of, 25, 30 volunteers, and we meet for about 5 days. We make the dough first, and then we start chopping veggies, and then we start putting together the pasties and baking. And we made 1,100 this year.
Okay. Yeah, no, there was a lot of pasties.
There's a lot of pasties.
And arguably, I'd say they're probably like the best pasties I've had. I haven't had very many since I've lived up here, but no, they were really good.
They are. I've had a lot since I've lived up here.
I've had a lot too, and I really feel like ours are the best. And I think it really is truly to the local ingredients that we use.
A little local zest.
Yeah. And we also use fresh thyme. In the past, the Mesabi East environmental education students have grown it for us, but the timing of the Pasty Festival is right after they get back in school. So this year, my garden and Fat Chicken Farm's garden supplied the fresh thyme, but we stripped the little tiny thyme leaves off the stem, and each pasty gets a little bit of fresh thyme and a pat of butter before the crust is rolled over it for baking. So, and it's a pie crust. We don't use a bread crust recipe, which is different than most other groups as well.
So that'd be a little sweeter then.
And a lot more full of flakiness and that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's what really makes it kind of pop for me. It's a texture thing.
Yeah, it is.
So, and you said you started doing that in 2019, so it's still in its infancy because you even had to skip a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, for a couple of years, just starting it off, it's pretty fun. And almost separate trains of thought too from Earthfest, where Earthfest is hey, go explore and meet all these people, and then Pasty's sit down and enjoy.
And talk to each other.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. Without the meal, it wouldn't really be a festival. It would just be another pasty sale fundraiser, which is not bad, but there's so many of those around here. Mm-hmm. And so we have,
Yeah, I was just going to say, it really just falls into our mission of bringing people together, bringing the community together, and trying to fulfill that role, and bringing our local farming tradition and our local mining tradition, kind of marrying that together into making this pasty and helping it to be a community event, which is really important for IRPS.
Yeah, and I noticed also, I'm pretty sure you do it at Earthfest too, but I know you did it at Pasty Fest. You have the e-recycling containers.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about e-recycling?
Yeah, I was involved with a group of 3 other people, one of whom is on the IRPS board, one from McAllister College, and one from a new association in Minnesota called Recycling Electronics for Climate Action, RECA. The 4 of us published a study in March on the potential for recycling Minnesota's e-waste, and especially doing it on the Iron Range. E-waste contains at least 68 critical elements that we need for the energy transition. And Minnesota generates millions of pounds of e-waste each year. 46 pounds per capita is the average for North America. And that's based on the Global E-Waste Monitors calculations. And if you multiply that out, you've got the little bookmark there that tells it's millions of pounds of e-waste. And right now the problem is Minnesota does not collect 100% of our e-waste. We collect about 23-4%.
And that's where y'all step in.
I'm sorry?
And that's where y'all step in to kind of up the numbers on it?
Right. We need to collect 100%. And right now Minnesota, for example, the St. Louis County landfill, the North St. Louis County landfill, only collects 4 items: laptops, desktops, monitors, and televisions under 19 inches. And so there's obviously thousands of other things that constitute e-waste. So the definition will be broadened in the next legislation. There's 2 groups of working on 100% collection legislation, and they'll be introducing it to the Minnesota legislature in February. And it will provide for reimbursement for all of the landfills that don't really have the staff to collect and sort and deal with e-waste. And then once that's all collected, then the recycling of e-waste takes on a whole new dimension and a whole new meaning. We calculated that the 68 precious elements or critical elements, the value of those in Minnesota's e-waste for 1 year alone is $3.2 billion. Could generate thousands of jobs, which is what the range needs. It's a sustainable business in that e-waste the stream isn't ever going to stop. It's projected to increase 4% per year.
And that's nationally.
That is internationally. Internationally, right.
Bigger picture.
Yeah, bigger picture, right. So if people are interested and want to see that study, it's at our website, which is irpsmn.org.
I'll be providing the link for that below as well.
Yeah, and there's a special page for e-waste recycling. And there will be updates on that page about the legislation as well, because we'd like people to, to help support that. Would make a big difference for the range.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% for that. So say that we did get 100% recycling rate. Is that the proper term?
Collection.
Collection rate.
Collection rate.
What would that, well, I was getting somewhere with this question. What would that mean for the range? Like what would?
Well, right now there are a few e-waste recycling facilities in Minnesota. Some in the Twin Cities, one in St. Cloud, but not a lot. And we would propose an e-waste recycling facility for the Iron Range that all of this collected e-waste could come to. And what happens with e-waste is it gets collected, sorted. Some of it actually is suitable for reuse, and it gets refurbished and resold. The rest of it gets dismantled, and the plastic and the glass and the wires and everything that's part of e-waste are sold to other groups that use them, and the valuable parts of e-waste get crushed. And right now, all of our crushing happens in Wisconsin. And once it's crushed, it goes overseas. The only way to extract those valuable items right now are in Japan, Korea, Belgium, and Germany.
So we're losing out on
We're
big
losing
numbers.
out on value, on jobs, yeah. Mm-hmm. So what we're proposing is we can do that here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the sound
Exciting.
of that. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting, yeah.
Especially when you think of just, you hear about those big trash piles out in I think where is it, Indonesia? Mm-hmm. Like there's like a huge one. There needs to be more focus on that.
Right.
And there's definitely room to improve and have people have jobs and
right. And safe
there's
jobs.
money in it. Yeah.
When e-waste is recycled by kids in Indonesia, it's not recycled safely. And e-waste contains some toxic elements. Mm-hmm. When you put it in the landfill, it leaches 4 or 5 chemicals that are cancer causing. So, we don't want that to happen either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone gets hurt when we're irresponsible with it.
Everybody does.
So,
and everybody wins when we recycle it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So would you say that's the IRPS big mission right now is?
Well, we've got 2 big missions. Missy's a farmer, and one of the reasons that she joined IRPS was because we had a pretty big emphasis on local food, and we published another study in 2018 on the economic potential of local food as an economic driver. And Missy's been talking about that everywhere she goes. So tell us about that.
Well, I don't have my notes in front of me for the numbers, but the potential for the impact of economic impact on the range for growing food for ourselves. Beyond the study, it's just an issue that we saw that validated us during the pandemic when we saw the collapse of our our food systems, and we saw that there's very few companies that have control of the meatpacking industry, And when COVID hit those meat packing plants, and then there was no meat on the stores and the shelves. And so what we are striving to do is to not really reinvent a local food infrastructure, because we had it here. We had logging camps, and we had the mines, and we had a way to feed all of those workers here at the turn of the century. And so we're not reinventing anything when we're trying to rebuild our local food infrastructure, but we need to be able to show that when we can invest in that local food infrastructure, we have the ability to elevate our farmers, to create agriculture as an economic driver in the taconite assistance area. And I think over the past 5 years, we've done a pretty good job of showing that we can do that, and tapping into our local farmers and seeing what they need and raising the voice of local agriculture in our area, because we're not generally an area that's known for agriculture when you get to the table. And so we're often overlooked for some of these infrastructure needs. But I think that our study definitely did a good job of raising awareness that we can feed ourselves here, and that we have the people, but we need more people. And we have the land that we need to be able to do that. We have a lot of beginner and emerging farmers that are looking to come into being farmers. And land is quite expensive, especially agricultural land, prime agricultural land across the state. But since this area is not really known for agriculture industry, we have a lot of smaller farms, a lot of homesteads. Sometimes they're just deer camps now. And so there's the opportunity for young and beginning and emerging farmers to kind of come here, and it's not necessarily unaffordable to get a 40 and a house and kind of work your way into farming.
So
and the difference up here is that we grow what are called, the USDA calls it specialty crops. So Missy grows garlic and asparagus, and we don't do commodity farming, which is corn and soybeans. I grew up in the area where corn and soybeans are everything, but we don't really do that up here. And we also don't do confined animal feeding operations. That's just not a lot of people have livestock. Those who do use managed rotational grazing and pasturing their pork. So people up here are doing it differently, and that's cool too.
Yeah.
I started writing a column for Hometown Focus about maybe 3 years ago, and I just published column number 96. So there are 96 stories of growers and farmers on the range out there floating on the internet. They're on a blog on our website, again, irpsmn.org. We'll say that a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to read about people who grow in this area, it's a good resource, because I've talked to people from all over the range who are either seasoned farmers who've been doing it a long time, or brand new farmers who started 2 years ago. And they're drawn toward using no-till, cover cropping, all of the sustainable techniques that are now being promoted in farming. So that makes us kind of unique too, I think.
Yeah, I think it does make us unique. There is a lot of these smaller farms that are incorporating these sustainable farming techniques.
Yeah.
And like I said, these aren't new techniques, but that we're using them, and we can actually make our soils better here than the clay soil that I've had. It's taken a while to build up, but I think just recognizing that small farmers have a voice.
Absolutely.
And there's more small farmers than there are big farmers. And there came a point here where in this food renaissance, local food renaissance, if you will, of the last, 20, 25 years of people wanting to know where their food comes from. And to having these ideals and to realize what we were doing can be done again. And we just need to put that effort into it. We need to recognize that we need to feed ourselves. We can't depend on other countries to feed ourselves. It's a national security risk.
Yeah.
And so to kind of weave that web of local food in our area, has been has really kind of bubbled to the surface of really important needs. And so we're seeing a lot of state agencies and, of course, the federal government getting behind a lot of these programs to elevate and to support local farmers and small farmers, family farmers.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
I know I, for one, like trust the smaller farmers more than the bigger ones. I just watched the whole thing where they were like a lot of farmers who have like cattle and then they also farm. A lot of diseases come from like just having that in the same area. And, you know, it's just if you're mass producing something, like you're going to miss a lot of cracks, especially with, you know, what's the agency again? It's the USDA. Yep. I think they're the ones who deal with that. But yeah, so what is like overall your mission is to like promote like people coming up here and beginning to like farm the area and like offer help and resources to do so, or?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, we already have farmers here that we want to make sure that we're reaching out and supporting and figuring out what their needs are. There's a lot of things that are coming up on the horizon that I don't feel like I'm free to actually talk about right now, but as far as just programs helping local food hubs, a lot of interagency work that's with the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan, the USDA kind of coming together and recognizing we really need to support rural America. Rural America is feeding us, whether we know it or not, and whether we recognize it or not. That's what we're doing, and we want to be. It's a noble cause to want to feed the world, but I think really we want to feed our communities and make sure that we're delivering a great product, great food, and the infrastructure that we have here. And we've got the land, we've got the farms, we've got the people that want to do it. And so we're just trying to help elevate that message.
Yeah.
And we also have a network of farmers markets through the region.
Oh, right.
I was going to mention
Grand
that. yeah.
Rapids, Ely, Finland, Minnesota, Tower, Cook,
Hibbing.
Virginia, Hibbing. I'm sure I'm missing some there, but those are kind of the big ones. Virginia's is 8 years old. Cook's is probably 13 or 14 years old. I think Grand Rapids has been around a little bit longer, but they're all relatively new. And they provide venues for farmers to come and sell what they grow. And our growing season is obviously super short. And so we've had a lot of agencies promoting season extension, which is high tunnels, greenhouses, ways to extend your growing season. And many of the farmers that we know use those techniques to try to extend.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier too, like the greenhouse with the it's dug out a little bit.
Right.
What would you call that?
The geothermal greenhouse,
Okay.
heated by the heat of the earth. And so the person that I know who has one of those greenhouses, in the winter, it's dug down about 6 feet, maybe 5 feet, and she puts the chickens in the bottom part in the winter because they don't grow food down there. They grow food up on the edges that are covered by the roof. And those edges are very, very productive. And then you can do other stuff down in the bottom part. You can start plants, all kinds of things. And the chicken manure, you can't use it right away. It has to cure for a couple of years before you use it. But you're
chicken.
accumulating a source of good
Right.
fertilizer
Yes.
down there, so that's good. But yeah, there's a lot of things. Deep winter greenhouses. IRPS has we were designated as a fiscal sponsor for a trust in Babbitt, where they want a deep winter greenhouse, which relies on the heat that comes in on a south window during the day being stored in rocks that are 4 feet deep under the floor, and then circulating the air around those rocks up into the greenhouse at night and keeping it at a consistent temperature all winter.
That's interesting.
Yeah, University of Minnesota kind of led the way in designing deep winter greenhouses. They have a whole department that's devoted to that. And so we'll be trying to build one in Babbitt and using their plans. There are 7 or 8, I think, in Minnesota right now.
And that would be directly under like the IRPS?
We are the fiscal sponsor for the Babbitt one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So who would be growing out of it? Just like the community? Or?
Probably students in the Babbitt schools.
Oh, that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of they would like learn how to grow in there and then, be able to like make their own in the future. Love it. That's cool.
Learning sustainable farming techniques, right? Hands-on, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the best way to get people into farming is like just
Yeah.
teach people because I didn't know the first thing about
Right.
farming. I still don't.
Yeah.
So I never considered being one.
Right.
And then you were talking about like the idea of like feeding the world, but feeding our communities first. And I mean, I think that's where feeding the world starts is teaching. Let me lower that a little bit. Is teaching our communities to. Why is it so loud? Teaching our communities to feed themselves, and then just kind of making a template for that, so more people can do so. Because if each of our communities can feed themselves, then we are eventually going to be feeding the world.
Right.
Just have to have a solid template for it that works.
And we also have community gardens in many, many of the communities here on the range. We have 2 food forests in Virginia. Food forests are perennial gardens of fruit and nut trees, herbs, and berries.
Where is
And
this?
Where is it? One of them is located on 12th Avenue West, between Pine Mill Court and the Iron Trail Motors Event Center.
Okay.
And one of them is located in Alcott Park behind the greenhouse. And that one has been worked on by 4-H and the Soil and Water Conservation District. And the Pine Mill one is sponsored by AEOA. And IRPS has been involved in planting that and getting grants for it. And people can go and harvest what's in season. And they were both bearing, the fruit trees and nut trees are still very young. But they were both bearing abundant berries this summer.
And what'd you call them? Garden forests?
Food forests.
Food forests.
Community food forest. My
Okay.
next article in my next Grown on the Range column in Hometown Focus is on food forests.
Okay.
There are about 210 worldwide and about 85 in this country. And we've got 2 of them in Virginia, which is amazing.
That is amazing. I never heard of one before, so.
Right. We also have community-supported agriculture programs where people buy a share of a farm and then get a delivery every week of fresh produce. We have farm-to-school programs. Farmers are selling products to ERATS, East Range Academy of Technology and Science. Mesabi East schools have had a program for quite a while. The Aitken schools have a very, very mature, active farm-to-school program. And those are spreading as well. So students are getting to eat a plate of local food.
Yeah. No, I want to hear more about the one where you can order produce directly from local farms because that sounds cool.
Yeah, Fat Chicken Farm has a CSA. There were several others. We've lost several CSAs in the past few years, so we need to establish more. That's something we want to help promote.
So why have you lost some CSAs?
The people who've gotten out of doing CSAs can make more out in the work world than they can growing food for a CSA, usually is the case. You have to be pretty dedicated to want to do that.
You have to be pretty dedicated, and you have to have the supporting infrastructure for a CSA. Farming is an incredibly difficult work that you're dependent on, or you're at the mercy of a lot of things, like the weather, the economics of the times, and so it's a difficult decision for people to get out of farming, and it's not one that anyone would take lightly, but that just shows that we have a need, that we need to have a more supportive infrastructure network for these farmers, like a food hub. They wouldn't have to just be dependent on growing things for certain people. They can grow more for the schools or the hospitals or whatever institutions that we can get on board with the food hub and have more local growers to aggregate their product to be able to meet the demands of the locally grown food that people are wanting.
Yeah. So they wouldn't have to cover every base.
Right.
Right.
They would be part of like a farmer's community.
Yes.
So, and that's something that you guys are building, or is it like, do you already have it?
It's in the works. Part of Iron Range Partnership for Sustainability, our mission basically is baked into our title. We're partnerships, so we partner with a lot of community groups, government groups, community groups, you name it, we want to partner with them. And just to kind of bring awareness to this. And so when we're trying to partner with other farmers with AEOA to develop the Rutabaga project, which oversaw the expansion of SNAP to our farmers markets and a whole bunch of other things that really ushered in a lot of education and awareness and things that we needed to better ourselves and to better the community in that aspect. We don't do any of this ourselves. We do. We've got a national treasure here in Marlise, but part of what we do is partner with other people. So it's not just us doing the work, it's actually us partnering with other organizations to uplift our shared values.
So, yeah. And I mean, like, that's kind of what you're preaching at, like, to begin with, is just like the partnership in the community. So out of the partnerships that you have, like, who would you say have been your biggest allies in doing all of this with the farms?
Oh gosh,
Well,
there's a lot of really
Farmers
great
Union,
people, but
Farmers Union's been a big one. AEOA has been a big one.
we've had great help with the local hospitals, Essentia, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. We've a while ago they're not anymore. ArcelorMittal. We had a grant with them, and they kind of helped us level up as an organization in strengthening the backbone of who we were and bringing us to, I would say, a more professional state of operating. And I think that was a great partnership, that they saw us as a valuable community organization, and they wanted to help us be better partners to other people in the community.
We also have a focus. One of our board members has taken on something that she's particularly interested in, that's plastics. And plastics recycling, plastics use, how to figure out what you can reuse, what you can recycle. It's kind of a maze. And at the Pasty Festival, she had a huge table with just samples of different kinds of plastics that everybody gets when you shop at the grocery store or wherever. And whether you can or can't recycle them, what the dangers are if you put them in the trash, how else you could use them, that sort of thing. She's been gathering lots of information and doing presentations at Earthfest and having displays different places, just to heighten awareness that plastics they don't ever go away. They never deteriorate, and the only hope for them is to get them recycled into something else. But, for example, we don't really have a lot of recycling opportunities in the parks in Virginia. And I asked Brian Silber, why not? And he said, because when they put a recycling bin out, people fill it with trash. And then it's a real challenge to sort that out. If you've ever visited the recycling facility near the landfill, there are people who work on a conveyor belt assembly line, just throwing out the stuff that's not recyclable. And according to friends of mine who have worked there in the past, people dump dead animals and all kinds of stuff in with recycling. So it is a real challenge. The public skill level at how to recycle and what to do with things that need to be recycled is really, there's a lot of education that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
As there will be with e-waste recycling. People aren't sure what constitutes e-waste, and right now there's really nowhere to take it. So we're really in the infancy on that one. We're farther along with plastics.
Yeah, and plastics are a scary one for me because like you see so many horror stories. I know every time I get like a 6-pack of anything, you have those,
those,
the rings.
right.
I always cut them up to ribbons, and I'm like, no, that's still not safe. Like this,
Yeah,
this is
right.
gonna end up in the nose of a sea turtle,
Right.
or it's gonna be something.
Exactly.
Now you
And
must find a craft to make out of it so
Yeah.
you can use it completely.
It's like, no, it's too dangerous to be out in the world. But those make me nervous, and they make up so much of the waste that we
They
see,
do.
like in trash piles. And I think a lot of the issue is, like as you said, people like just throw garbage away in recycling bins. I think, and personally, I think a lot of it is disillusionment with people because like we're told to like recycle, and then like a news article will come out and be like, oh, they don't even do anything with it. It's like,
Right.
that's disappointing.
Yeah.
You know, it's you want to see. I don't think anyone's just like, I don't care at all. I think it's just a matter of like, how can I possibly do anything to stop it or help? But it's nice to see that like there's people who are actively like in the area who are like trying to work towards making that happen.
And many communities don't have curbside recycling. We do in Virginia, that is so much easier. And, you know, I realize that there's not a market for everything that we put in the recycle bin, but we can't stop just because that's true right now. You know, I know that our landfill, we can't sell glass. And so I did IRPS sponsored a tour of the landfill a few years ago. Fascinating. I would encourage everybody to do that. You learn a lot. And what we found out is they grind up the glass and they use it as gravel on top of the landfill. And so our glass gets put to use. And they don't get flat tires from it. They process it in such a way that it's usable. So I think we're moving in that direction with a lot of recyclable products. They're finding ways to use them in roads and in concrete and that sort of thing.
And I think we also just need to take a look at whether on the consumer end, you know, as our power of purchase and, you know, not buying single-use plastics when we can, and just being very conscious of it. And we try to do that. I mean, it's not, we don't have a huge campaign out there for that, but
Right.
We try. And definitely I know our person who's involved with the plastics is going to continue to elevate that corner of what she's trying to accomplish there with awareness.
Yeah.
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 Because that's a huge mission that's been going on.
I've learned a lot from her, just, you know, whether it's a 1 or a 2, and go beyond that, go to your food wrappers. And I get a ton of feed delivered, you know, animal feed delivered that's wrapped in plastic, and I had no idea that I could bring that to Target and recycle that.
Yeah. It's all about education, I think, is just letting people know, like, this is what you should do, this is what you can do, and here are the resources to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot what we try to do with IRPS, whether it's a plastic or food or e-waste, you know, focusing locally, looking at our organizational values and personal and planetary health, and seeing where we can match up with other community groups and kind of bring in awareness to elevate a message.
Mm-hmm. We've also partnered with Solar United Neighbors, which has a main office in the Twin Cities, to do solar workshops, and they have an Iron Range regional solar co-op where people can join, and then they do group buying of solar panels.
Oh.
They'll come out and evaluate your structure, your house, whatever it is, tell you what you need, tell you what the options are, and then the group makes a decision. They put it out for bid. They get bids from a variety of providers, and the group makes the decision on who's going to do it. So you get it for a lot less than you might if you went just independently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When is that happening?
The last one happened, I think, just a month ago. But Solar United Neighbors, the next time it does, we put it on our Facebook page when we're co-hosting or co-sponsoring with them, and when they have a solar co-op open. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, no, I could use a solar panel.
All right.
My
I
bills
have
are
solar
nuts right
panels
now.
on my house. So. Yeah.
Have you guys like worked with Helene at all? Because I know there's like solar panel, like I think they manufacture up here.
They do. Yeah. We've been on a tour and very much support their efforts. And they're expanding now so that they can do more, which will be really, really good. I think that'll be very cool. And I know Habitat for Humanity has also put passive solar features into all the houses they build, which is very cool. So yeah, there's stuff happening.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. Like, it's you sit on it for so long. I know, like, since the '90s, they've been talking about, like, this is an issue, and it's just never gotten better. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm really optimistic about, you know, people like, you know, like you guys and other organizations that are actually going forward and trying to make it better.
And at Earthfest, we've got 60 or 70 exhibitors and vendors there, some of whom provide solar installation services, so people can come and talk, can show them pictures of their house, can get more information. That's a really good thing, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how big is your organization?
10 or 11 board members,
I don't know,
maybe?
yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, we have no office, no phone. We have a post office box. Missy works remotely. We own a computer. And that's about it, besides the banners.
We do
and-
have a piece of, we do have a stool that has our logo on it.
Oh,
That's a good start.
yeah,
So
really.
we do have a chair, kind of.
One chair.
So you guys are kind of like the guerrilla fighters of like.
Yeah, most of
sustainability.
what IRPS has in its possession in terms of signage and things that we use repeatedly lives in one room of my basement.
Right.
We call it the IRPS storage room.
We're glad you have a big house.
Yeah, yeah. But no, we don't have an office. We operate pretty much in the ether.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I'm like, besides this is obviously like my
Yeah.
office, but yeah, typically I'm working from my car, so
Right.
because I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But-
we depend on our Facebook page and our website to kind of represent us in the community, other than when we're out there
Yeah,
doing that. So
because honestly, that's where you need to be these days is online. You know, and if you have everything there, and you have, I'm assuming you have like all the information, like education-wise, for people to hop on your site and you know see what all these things are. So yeah, check out their website and click on the link. You know, learn something new. So yeah, that's where
Yeah.
you need to be these days, because you're going to be meeting people in their home and
Right.
where, you know, on their phones, where they can, you know, actually like have a conversation with you without having to go to an office.
Right.
Because who does that these days?
yeah,
Like barely anyone comes here unless they're riding the Mesabi Trail. And they're
You're
like,
right.
we need a pamphlet or we need to use the bathroom. But
yeah,
yeah, brick and mortar is old days.
it is. So we were adapting before it was fashionable to adapt.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
forward thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, what other? So you have the Pasty Fest, you have the farmers markets, and then you have Earthfest. When is the next Earthfest happening?
April 20th, 2024, at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. And our theme for this coming year is Nature is for Everybody. And we're trying to focus on people taking advantage. I mean, we live in an area rich with beautiful nature. And we want to focus a little bit more on everybody taking advantage of that. One of the things we've become involved in, one of our board members, Kes Ebbs from Hibbing, got involved with a group wanting to promote BIPOC wilderness
Ely.
experiences. Ely? did I
Ely. He was
say?
from Ely.
I'm sorry, I just said the wrong word.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he's been wanting to promote Black and Indigenous people of color having an experience in the Boundary Waters or up here somewhere. And they've done 2 events so far and have brought people who have never been on a camping trip, never been in a canoe, never been in a kayak, and they've brought them up and they have had life-changing experiences. Just realizing what it means to be able to be outside. He also works with Outdoor Afro, which is a national organization promoting that. So we've been really proud to be co-sponsors of those 2 wilderness events. And there will be more coming up. They're planning, I think, one each year.
Yeah.
And who's that through? I'm kind of.
I'm sorry?
And who's that through?
Kesley Ebbs is our board member who's involved in it, and IRPS has been one sponsor. I'm not sure if the other sponsor.
Well, I think we've been helping them cover food, and then other organizations help with lodging. Other organizations that are like the Superior National Forest has been another partner with them,
Right.
and
Probably VEMA.
VEMA. Yes.
Yeah, VEMA's great. I love
VEMA's
working
great.
with
Yeah.
them. So
They're
yeah, I was
doing-
like, yeah, they probably have something to do with it.
They
I saw
might
them
have
at
something
I
to
saw them at Pasty Fest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were volunteering.
They're helping us collect the electronics.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
and honestly, like, you know, someone who grew up in like the East Coast, the cities, you know, coming up here, I can definitely relate to that. Just being able to like go out. I was like, okay, cool. So I can go like down the road, and then you'll take a shuttle down, and then I'm at a beach, and I can just kayak, and
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can do
We
that.
can do that, and we have so much around us. I mean, I know there's people who even live in Virginia who've never left the city limits to explore the wilderness around them, and I think that's what, you know, when you can give somebody an experience, and it affects them, then they're going to become advocates for that wilderness, for that experience, whatever it is. And so, if we want to, you know, save our forests or save our wilderness, then we need to build advocacy, and we need to make sure that people are getting a chance to become those advocates that we need for the future.
Right. Yeah, because you know, until you actually experience it, it's just an idea on paper.
Exactly.
And you know, when I moved up here, my initial thought was just like, okay, so this is like a middle of nowhere. Like, I was like, what's happening? And then, you know, as soon as I was allowed to, because I moved up here like right before COVID, so I was like, I was housebound for like a year, and I was like, I don't know what's out there.
Right.
But yeah, once I was
Bears.
allowed to explore, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wow, I'm gonna get killed by an animal or something.
Probably.
No, it was an experience the first time I was actually allowed to like go out and like go out to one of the pits and go kayaking, and then like I checked out the hiking trails, and
Oh, they're amazing.
yeah, even the Mesabi trail, I rode like 30 miles of that,
Yeah.
like, and I picked the worst day to do it. I got poured on, but no, it's definitely an experience, and it's a lot of stuff worth protecting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's right here.
It's right here. And even, you know, some of the city parks, all of the state parks are just amazing in their resources in this area. So we're pretty lucky. You know, you're not really in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of a very heavily forested, beautiful area.
Yeah, and it's not like you don't feel isolated necessarily like when you're out there either, because like so many people have put a lot of like love and have given a lot of attention to these areas. So it's almost like a giant what's the word I'm looking? It's not like a playground, but kind of like it's like cool. Like I want to go here, so you'll just go over to Minnesota Discovery Center and go out for a day and experience it. And you don't. While you feel like you're just like in this other world, like you're still right in town.
Yep.
It's really nice.
Yeah. One of we haven't worked with them yet, but the Sax-Zim Bog is quite a resource. Just a beautiful resource. And the group that has fostered that and kept it going is a group of volunteers.
Yeah.
You know, and they attract people from all over the world for bird watching, especially winter bird watching.
Yeah, I've checked that out during the winter. I do not have I don't have the Minnesota skin for that yet. Yeah, winter birding is cold, but
You get layers and layers of clothes and you put them all on at once.
yeah, I have to do it with a camera though. So it's like,
You can also get a bird feeder and put it up outside your window.
I've seen that. I've seen people actually. They have the visors. Like they'll put the visor on,
Yeah.
and then they'll put the bird food, and they'll just wait. That's more my style.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put in the effort to like actually like trudge out there. I want them to come to me.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, until like an owl comes or something, and then it's probably gonna be. But I love the Sax-Zim Bog. Really cool place.
Very cool.
And I've had the opportunity to talk to a few of them before. Clint is like
Oh, he's amazing.
super smart. He knows everything. Like
Yep.
Yeah, really cool guy. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
have him here.
Good.
Eventually.
That
So-
would be wonderful. He and Sparky would do an amazing talk because there's so much there. Yeah. And so many different terrains there, so many different ecosystems in that square mile area that they have.
Yeah, just like boreal forests, and it really is beautiful. Like especially like during times of winter, like even like throughout the seasons, all the seasons, it's beautiful to be there.
Yeah.
I love what they did with the boardwalks too. Have you checked that out?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Those
like
are
all
beautiful.
it's like long lasting too. It's like the type of wood they use or something, so it doesn't like go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of efforts to like sustaining the area, and they're definitely one of them. It would have
They
been a
are.
great one for this episode. Like, well,
That's true. They
Should have a,
definitely
like
would
episode
be.
party here.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Sustainability and wilderness issues.
Yeah, I could spread it out though. We can talk about it again.
Right.
It's fine. But so what else would you guys like to talk about since we're kind of like wrapping up on time here?
I'm really proud of our organization. It's kind of like a little light for me, getting to know the organization quite a few years ago, and just knowing that there's people here that care, that there's an organization that puts on an Earthfest. Holy buckets! Like that was a big deal for me when I first came to the first Earthfest. I was really like, because I had just moved here about that time.
Yeah.
Well, 2003, but really just kind of knowing that there's an organization out here that was that cares, and it kind of helps you to not feel so lost, and that you can join in other people in caring about our community through the lens of sustainability, and really it's a lot of the things that we care about, whether you're looking at it through sustainability or not, whether you're just wanting to bring people together, or to foster personal and planetary health, or to focus locally, or raise awareness about issues. But that's kind of the way that we approach it, is through the eyes of sustainability, and how we can promote sustainability and bring people together and work on all those values. And it just turns out that a lot of other organizations and a lot of other people have those same values. And so we feel really lucky that there's organizations that want to partner with us, and that they come to us as a way to help them strengthen their sustainability, and how they can work things out, or how they're thinking about difficulties, or whatever it is. But we're here for them. We're here for our community, for the region, and I think that's pretty cool.
And we also have opportunities that you can find out about on our website to be a volunteer in Partnership for Sustainability, the IPS.
Right,
and
RV.
sign up.
Yep.
And we call on you every time we're doing something. And we also have a fundraising arm, because of course we have to stay alive. But we have a $5,000 pot of money that will be released to us when we reach 5,000. And I think we're at about 3,500 right now. So people can become sustaining partners by going to our website and donate on a monthly basis or a one-time gift, and that will help us unlock the next 5,000, which will be a great advantage to us. So,
Yeah, and then link to donate will also be below, so you can check that out as well if you want to be a sustaining partner.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as like Earthfest, I know because I relate to that. When I saw that, I was like, okay, cool. Like there's some cool stuff up here. That was one of the first things I saw when I started working with the
good.
Tourism Bureau. I was like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
and then I
right
actually
on.
got to check it out this year. So yeah, I was excited to meet y'all.
Good deal.
But yeah, thanks for coming out and talking to me today. And,
Thanks for
having
having us. And we're in a beautiful room with a view of the beautiful trees outside. How appropriate is that?
Yeah, exactly. Like you guys don't get to see it. And it's really nice out there.
You'll have to take our word
That's
for
all right.
it.
Yeah, take our word for it.
But yeah, so check us out on the next episode of Meeting Mesabi, and check out the links below if you want to learn more about the Iron Range Partnership for Sustainability. Have a great day, and
Thank you.
thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you very much.